Not good enough. Those 3 words echoed in my head as I stared at the diamond on my finger, catching the afternoon sunlight streaming through the window of Peter's corner office. Outside, Seattle's skyline stretched before me, a perfect backdrop for this moment of sweet, unplanned revenge. 2 months ago, I was crying on my bathroom floor, mascara streaking down my face, after being dumped by a man who thought I wasn't sophisticated enough for his career aspirations. Now I was engaged to his boss, the CEO he'd been desperately trying to impress for years. Life has a twisted sense of humor sometimes. Let me rewind and tell you how this all unfolded, because I promise, I never set out for this to happen. I'm still processing it myself. My name is Emma Chin, I'm 32, and until recently, I thought I was building a future with Tyler McKenzie, my boyfriend of 3 years. We met at a friend's barbecue when I first moved to Seattle for my job as a marketing specialist. Tyler was charming, ambitious, and worked for Horizon Technologies, a rising tech company where he was constantly talking about climbing the corporate ladder. He was a mid-level project manager, but you'd think he was next in line for the C-suite the way he talked sometimes. Things were good between us, or so I thought. We had our routines, weekend brunches, streaming shows together on weeknights, occasional camping trips around the Pacific Northwest. My friends thought we were perfect together. His friends seemed to like me. I even had a Pinterest board of wedding ideas that I thought I was being sneaky about. Then came that Thursday night. I still remember everything about it: the smell of the pad thai I'd picked up on my way home from work, the sound of rain against the windows, the way Tyler's voice changed when he said we needed to talk. "Emma, I've been doing a lot of thinking about us," he began, setting down his fork without having touched his food. My stomach immediately knotted. I'm at a critical point in my career right now. Peter Harrington has started mentoring me personally, and there are rumors about a VP position opening up next year. Peter Harrington was the CEO of Horizon, a tech industry veteran who'd built the company from the ground up. Tyler talked about him like he was Steve Jobs reincarnated. "That's great, Tyler," I said, confused about why this was a relationship conversation. "I'm really proud of you." He sighed, looking genuinely pained, which I now realize was just part of his performance. The thing is, as I move up, there are certain expectations. Social events, networking dinners, industry parties. And I need. He paused, choosing his words carefully, a partner who can navigate those waters with me. I set my fork down too. "What are you saying?" "You're amazing, Emma. You're kind and funny and down to earth. But let's be honest, you're not comfortable in those high society settings. You get anxious at formal events. You don't know about wine or art. Last month at the company gala, you were talking to the CFO's wife about your love for reality TV shows." My cheeks burned at the memory. She brought it up. "We were just having a normal conversation." Tyler shook his head. "That's my point. What's normal to you isn't going to help me get where I need to go. I need someone who can be an asset in those situations, not someone I have to." He winced slightly. "Coach, are you breaking up with me because I don't know enough about wine?" I asked, incredulous. "I'm breaking up with you because we want different things. You're happy with your job, your small circle of friends, your weekend hikes. I want more. I need to surround myself with people who can elevate me." The words hit like a physical blow. 3 years, and I was being discarded because I wasn't elevating enough. "So I'm what, too basic for you now?" My voice cracked. "Don't make this ugly, Emma. I still care about you. I want us to stay friends. Seattle's a small city, especially in the tech scene. We're bound to run into each other. Friends." He wanted to be friends after this. I stared at him in disbelief, this man I thought I knew, who was now looking at me with a mixture of pity and impatience. "I think you should go," I managed to say. "Let's not be dramatic. This is my apartment too." "Not tonight it isn't," I said, finding my voice. "Take what you need and stay at Brian's or something." I need space. He looked like he might argue, then thought better of it. Fine. I'll get some things. We can talk more when we're both calmer. After he left, I did what any reasonable adult would do, called my best friend Maya, drank most of a bottle of red wine, apparently not sophisticated enough wine, according to Tyler, and ugly cried until my face hurt. Between sobs, I kept repeating to Maya what he'd said, each recitation making it sound more absurd. He basically said I'm not fancy enough for his career aspirations. I wailed. What a pretentious asshole, Maya fumed. Seriously, Em, this is a blessing in disguise. You deserve someone who appreciates you exactly as you are. The next morning, Tyler texted, "Hope you're feeling better. I'll stop by this weekend to get more of my stuff." I meant what I said about staying friends. This doesn't have to be nasty, I didn't respond. The weekend came, and I made sure to be out when he collected his things. For the next 2 weeks, I did the post-breakup basics, cried, ate too much ice cream, avoided social media, and threw myself into work. Tyler texted every few days with frustratingly pleasant messages, checking in like he was some kind of concerned acquaintance rather than the person who had just shattered my heart. Then came the message that changed everything. "Hey Emma, I know things are weird, but I still value our friendship. I'm helping organize a charity fundraiser for the Children's Hospital at the Four Seasons next Friday. It would mean a lot if you came. No pressure, just an olive branch. Let me know." I showed the text to Maya over coffee that weekend. "The audacity," she said, shaking her head. "He dumps you for not being his level, then invites you to some fancy charity thing?" Hard pass. I nodded, but something in me hesitated. Maybe it was pride, maybe curiosity, but a part of me wanted to show up and prove something, to him, to myself, I wasn't sure. "What if I did go?" I said slowly. "Not to reconcile or anything. Just to show him I'm doing fine without him. That I can handle his precious high society just fine." Maya gave me a skeptical look. "That sounds like a recipe for pain, honey." "Or closure," I countered. "Besides, it's for charity. I'll make a small donation, make brief small talk, then leave with my dignity intact." Maya sighed. "If you're going, I'm helping you get ready. You're going to look so good he'll question every life choice he's ever made." The night of the fundraiser arrived, and I won't lie, I put in effort. Maya helped me pick out a sleek black dress I'd bought for a work event but never worn. She did my makeup subtly dramatic, and I borrowed her designer clutch that she'd splurged on last year. Looking in the mirror, I felt confident. Not because I was trying to be someone else, but because I recognized my own strength in choosing to face this situation head-on. The Four Seasons ballroom was intimidating, I'll admit. Crystal chandeliers, people in expensive clothes, servers circulating with champagne flutes. I spotted Tyler immediately, in a group that included several older executives. He was laughing too loudly at something one of them said, that fake laugh he used when he was networking. I took a deep breath and made my way to the bar, deciding to get my bearings before approaching him. As I waited for my drink, a deep voice beside me said, "Scotch, neat, please." I glanced over and did a double take. The man standing next to me was tall, with salt and pepper hair and the kind of presence that made people notice. I recognized him immediately from company photos and news articles. Peter Harrington, Tyler's boss and the object of his professional obsession. He caught me looking and smiled. "Enjoying the event?" "Just getting my bearings," I admitted. "These things can be a bit overwhelming at first." He laughed, a genuine sound. "Tell me about it. I've been doing these for 20 years and still need a moment and a drink when I first arrive." His honesty surprised me. This was the corporate titan Tyler was so desperate to impress, and he was casually admitting to social anxiety? "I'm Peter, by the way," he said, extending his hand. "Emma Chen," I replied, shaking it. "I'm actually here as a guest of one of your employees." "Oh? Who's that?" "Tyler Mackenzie. Something flickered across Peter's face as recognition, perhaps a hint of surprise. Tyler's guest? I didn't realize he was seeing anyone. Oh, we're not, I started, then stopped. What was I supposed to say? He dumped me for not being sophisticated enough but invited me anyway? Instead, I said, we're just friends. Peter nodded, but I had the distinct impression he was reading between the lines. Well, Emma-chan, since we're both getting our bearings, would you mind some company while we do so? I found myself relaxing in his presence. Peter was nothing like Tyler had described in his endless work stories. Yes, he was clearly successful and confident, but there was no pretentiousness. He asked questions about my work in marketing and actually listened to the answers. He told funny, self-deprecating stories about industry events gone wrong. When I mentioned my love of hiking, he lit up, telling me about his favorite trails around the Pacific Northwest. You've done the Northern Loop at Rainier, he asked, impressed. That's serious hiking. One of my proudest accomplishments, I admitted. Though I couldn't walk properly for 3 days after. He laughed again, and I realized we'd been talking for nearly 45 minutes. I'd completely forgotten my original purpose for being there. I should probably make my rounds, Peter said reluctantly. But I've enjoyed talking with you, Emma. Much more than I usually enjoy these events. Same here, I said truthfully. Would it be too forward to ask for your number? Maybe we could hit one of those trails sometime. I hesitated only briefly before entering my number into his phone. As he walked away, I finally spotted Tyler across the room, staring at us with an expression of utter disbelief. When our eyes met, I simply smiled and turned away. My phone buzzed with a text almost immediately. What are you doing talking to Peter Harrington? How do you even know him? I ignored it. For the rest of the evening, I mingled, made a modest donation to the Children's Hospital, and chatted with a few other people. Tyler kept trying to get my attention, but I deliberately stayed on the opposite side of the room. As I was preparing to leave, Peter found me again. Heading out, he asked. Yes, I think I've done my social duty for the night, I replied with a smile. I was thinking the same thing. These events always run too long. He paused. Can I walk you out? Outside, waiting for our respective cars, Peter turned to me. I don't usually do this, but would you like to get coffee sometime? Or if you prefer something less ambiguous, would you like to go on a date with me? I was surprised by his directness. Aren't you Tyler's boss? Yes. Is that a problem? I considered it. It might be complicated. Because you and he are ex-boyfriend, I clarified. Recent ex. Peter nodded slowly. I see. That does add a layer of complexity. But I'm interested in getting to know you, Emma, if you're open to it. No pressure either way. My mind raced. Part of me worried it would seem like I was dating Peter to get back at Tyler. Another part wondered if Peter was only interested because he thought I was with Tyler. But looking at him in that moment, I saw genuine interest. Coffee sounds nice, I said finally. But you should know that Tyler and I didn't end on the best terms. That's between you and him, Peter said simply. I'm interested in you for you, not because of any connection to my company. We set up a coffee date for that Sunday afternoon. It was casual, at a small place in Pike Place Market, far from the corporate world. Peter showed up in jeans and a sweater, looking so different from the executive I'd met at the fundraiser. We talked for hours about books, travel, our families. He told me about growing up in Michigan, working his way through college, building his company from nothing. I told him about my Chinese immigrant parents, their small restaurant in Portland, my marketing degree from UW. Not once did he make me feel like I needed to be anything other than exactly who I was. When I mentioned my guilty pleasure love for reality TV cooking shows, he confessed he'd seen every season of Great British Bake Off. When I admitted I preferred beer to wine most days, he high-fived me. That coffee date turned into dinner. Dinner turned into a hike the following weekend. The hike turned into more dates. Peter was busy, as CEOs tend to be, but he made time. He texted during the day with observations that made me laugh. He remembered details from our conversations. He asked my opinion on things and actually valued my answers. Throughout this time, Tyler kept texting me. At first with questions about Peter, then with warnings. He's using you to get information about me and my work. He's too old for you, does this all the time, dates women briefly then drops them, ignored them all. What Tyler couldn't seem to understand was that Peter and I never discussed him or Horizon Technologies. Our relationship existed completely separate from that world. About 3 weeks into dating Peter, I finally replied to one of Tyler's texts, "Please stop contacting me. My relationship with Peter has nothing to do with you." His response was immediate, "You're making a huge mistake. He'll get bored with you even faster than I did." That stung, but I didn't engage further. Instead, I showed the message to Peter that evening over dinner at his place. He read it and set my phone down calmly. "Would you like me to speak with him? This is inappropriate workplace behavior." "No," I said quickly. "That would just make it worse. I can handle Tyler." Peter nodded. "I trust you to handle it. But know that I can step in if needed." He paused. "For what it's worth, getting bored with you seems impossible. Every day I find something new to admire." That night was our first night together. In the morning, waking up in his waterfront condo with the sound of the bay in the background, I felt a contentment I hadn't experienced before. This wasn't about revenge or proving something to Tyler anymore. This was about me finding someone who appreciated exactly who I was. The following weeks were a whirlwind. Peter introduced me to his friends, all of whom were warm and unpretentious despite their success. I introduced him to Maya, who was skeptical at first but quickly won over by his genuine interest in her graphic design work. We fell into an easy rhythm of weekday dinners and weekend adventures. Peter never pressured me to be anything other than myself at industry events or dinner parties. In fact, he seemed proud when I would engage people in conversations about normal, everyday things rather than the constant networking Tyler had been so focused on. "You know why you connect with people so easily?" Peter said after one such event. "Because you're authentic. You actually care what they have to say, not what they can do for you." It was around this time that I ran into Tyler at a coffee shop near my apartment. He looked tired, his usually perfect appearance slightly rumpled. "Emma," he said, clearly surprised to see me. "Can we talk for a minute?" Against my better judgment, I sat down with him. "How are you?" he asked, his voice softer than in his texts. "I'm good, Tyler. Really good." He nodded, looking down at his coffee. "I've been thinking a lot about us, about how things ended. I wasn't in a good place, career-wise. I was putting so much pressure on myself to advance." He looked up at me. I said things I didn't mean. I felt a twinge of the old pain, but it was duller now. "What are you saying, Tyler?" "I'm saying I made a mistake. You were the best thing in my life, and I threw it away because I was chasing some idea of success that wasn't even mine." He reached for my hand across the table. "I miss you, Em." I gently pulled my hand back. "Tyler, I'm with Peter now. It's serious." His expression hardened slightly. "Is it? Or are you just trying to prove something?" "That's unfair," I said quietly. "What Peter and I have has nothing to do with you. He's my boss, Emma. Do you have any idea how this looks for me at work? People are talking. I'm sorry if that's difficult for you, but that's not my problem anymore." I stood up to leave. "I wish you well, Tyler, I really do. But we're done." As I walked away, he called after me, "He'll never commit to you, you know." Not like I would have. I didn't turn around. I didn't tell him that just the night before, Peter had mentioned taking me to meet his parents in Michigan next month. I didn't need to prove anything to Tyler anymore. 2 more weeks passed. Peter and I only grew closer. One evening, he took me to dinner at Canlis, with its stunning views of Lake Union. He seemed nervous, which was unusual for him. "Everything okay?" I asked as we finished our main course. "Better than okay," he said, reaching across the table for my hand. "Emma, these past 2 months have been the happiest of my life." My heart started beating faster. "I know it's fast," he continued, "and if you think it's too fast, I completely understand. But sometimes when you know, you know." He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. "I've been waiting for someone like you my entire life. Someone real, someone who sees me for me, not what I can do for them." He opened the box to reveal a stunning yet tasteful emerald-cut diamond. "Emma Chin, would you do me the extraordinary honor of becoming my wife?" Time seemed to stop. We'd only been dating for 2 months. It was fast, incredibly fast. But I'd never felt so certain about anything in my life. "Yes," I whispered, then louder, "yes." The restaurant erupted in applause as Peter slipped the ring onto my finger. It fit perfectly. Later that night, as we celebrated at his place, Peter hesitantly brought up the subject of work. "I should probably tell you, there's been a reorganization at Horizon. Tyler's being transferred to our Boston office." I looked up in surprise. "Was that because of us?" Peter shook his head firmly. "Absolutely not. The decision was made weeks ago, before we even met. The Boston office needed his project management skills, and the VP who's been mentoring him is based there." He paused. "I wanted to be transparent with you. I would never use my position that way." I believed him. Peter had proven time and again that he operated with integrity. The next morning, as I admired the ring catching sunlight in Peter's office while he took a quick call, I received a text from Tyler. "I just heard the news about the engagement. Congratulations. I guess you really showed me, huh? Hope it was worth it." I stared at the message, feeling a moment of doubt. Was this fast engagement partly because of what happened with Tyler? Had I unconsciously been trying to prove something? But as Peter finished his call and came over to kiss me, his eyes full of genuine love and admiration, I knew the truth. This wasn't about revenge or proving my worth. This was about finding someone who never needed me to prove my worth in the first place. "Ready for brunch with Maya?" Peter asked, taking my hand. "Absolutely," I replied, slipping my phone into my purse without responding to Tyler's text. Some messages don't deserve responses. 2 days later, Tyler left for Boston. He sent one final text: "I was wrong about you, Emma. I hope he deserves you." Maybe that was growth for him. Maybe not. Either way, it didn't matter to me anymore. As I sit here now in Peter's office, staring at my engagement ring while he finishes up his workday, I can't help but marvel at how life unfolds. 2 months ago, I was deemed not good enough by a man so concerned with appearances and status that he couldn't see the value of authenticity. Now I'm planning a future with someone who loves me precisely because I don't try to be anything other than who I am. It's not about the title or the money or the fancy apartment. It's about finding someone who sees you, really sees you, and thinks you're exactly who they've been looking for all along. Sometimes the person who thinks you're not good enough for them is actually the one who was never good enough for you. And sometimes life has a way of making that abundantly clear in the most unexpected ways. For anyone listening who's ever been made to feel not enough, in relationships, at work, in life, remember this: the right people won't ask you to be more or less of anything. They'll just ask you to be you. And that will be exactly what they're looking for. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to my story. If this resonated with you or if you've ever experienced something similar, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Have you ever had someone tell you weren't good enough, only to find someone later who appreciated exactly who you are? Or maybe you've had your own experience with unexpected romance that came after heartbreak. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more real-life stories that might just make you laugh, cry, or feel a little less alone in your own experiences. Until next time, remember your worth isn't determined by someone else's inability to see it.